Oh, good evening. It is Tuesday. This is over and over and over again. My name is Richard, and this is the Tuesday Clinic. It's going to be a busy show. We're a man down tonight. Adam can't make it, unfortunately, and Dawes is running a little bit late, but we will bring you the show just in a few seconds' time. We're going to be looking back on the Liverpool game and Villa as well, of course, a great game that was for Arsenal. We're also going to, talk about Bernd Leno's return to the side at the weekend. A great performance from him, so we're going to look at that. And also from the archive section tonight, we are going to be, because it's international break week, we're going to be looking at some great moments for Arsenal players at international level, our favourite international moments with our players over the years. I'm sure Melvin will have quite a few of those to look back on as well. So this is going to be good. Coming up the other side of this, a new little intro I've done. So a little intro there to celebrate all things Arsenal. That we seem to not be allowed to celebrate these days. So I thought we'd have a little celebration for the show this week. Just to be saying that, look who's arrived in the show right on time. It's Dawesy, of course.
Sorry I'm late, boys. Sorry I'm late.
No, we've only just started anyway. Okay. So all you missed was the new intro that I put together, which was quite nice. But anyway, I'm sure you'll catch up a bit later. Obviously, Melvin is with us as always. Are you okay this week, Melvin?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Yeah, look forward to tonight. Talk about the old international games. That should be quite good. And get
exactly. Yeah, with a new top one as well, as always. You a new one every week. You're going to run out of tops soon.
This is an old one, mate.
Is it? We've not seen it before on the show, so it's a new one from the show perspective. You wear a different one every week, so I say eventually you might run out, but anyway, I'm sure you won't because you've got quite a large collection.
There's quite a few left I haven't worn yet.
And of course, let's not forget they're releasing some new stuff today. Yeah. I'm sure you've seen the images of them, which were rather nice. But anyway, we'll see. I'm sure someone will buy them, but it won't be me or Melvin. I'm sure. I expect you'll probably end up buying them because you buy all the other tops, don't you?
No, not them ones. What I will say about that though is I'm glad that they've done something specifically for the women's team. I think that's a really cool thing to do. It is very expensive and it's very.
That's my issue with
it. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
No, it is good that they're bringing out a range for the women's team, but it needs to be something that people are actually going to want to buy, first of all, and the price needs to be reflected, because the price to watch women's football is a lot cheaper than to watch men's football. Yeah. And surely the merchandise needs to reflect that as well. But anyway, that's a separate issue, which we won't get into now because we've got enough of other stuff to talk about. And Neil's in the chat there. He says, "Do not celebrate, which is not allowed." No, it's not allowed. That's why I did it in my intro today for fun. And Loki as well says, "Evening, thanks for tuning in, mate." Well, I suppose it seems like a lot's happening last week with Arsenal, as it does most weeks, it seems. Well, I want to kind of briefly go back to the most furthest away game that we haven't spoke about yet, which was, of course, the game against Liverpool, which we did sort of preview last week. It wasn't as bad as a performance in the end as the result, maybe. So we'll have a little look at that. I mean, it was a shame in many ways because for a large part of that game, we played well, I thought. We certainly were equal to Liverpool in many aspects of the play. And in the end, it was just one or two little mistakes that we made. And Liverpool are the sort of team at that level that punish us. And that's exactly what happened. And I think it kind of showed that, maybe in a way that was a good thing because I think it was easy to maybe get a little bit carried away with how we were doing, winning games, playing pretty well, moving up the table. And maybe now it maybe made us realise that actually when it comes to the very, very top teams, we are still quite a way short and we've still got improvements to make. But that's not a bad thing because it gives us something to strive towards. And there was a lot more positives, I felt. I mean, Melvin, what did you make of the performance? Because I thought we played pretty well, actually, overall. Over the 90 minutes, we played all right, didn't we?
I think to go back to your point about being far away, I think the gap has definitely closed. You think about Yeah, the way we played at home to Manchester City the other week, and the way the first half most certainly against Liverpool, I thought it was even Stevens both games. You couldn't say that a couple of years ago. Also, what I didn't watch the game live. I was too busy doing rehearsals. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't let down the rehearsal boys. Anyway, got home, didn't know the result. Watched the first half, every second of it. And then once they scored, I flicked through the rest of it. Liverpool. I knew what was going to happen. I'm not strong enough anymore. And then I watched the whole second half the day before yesterday, I think it was, or yesterday. And I tell you something, we weren't that bad second half. I know they scored 2 goals, but we weren't that bad. And up to the last minute, we were still trying to play our football. We were still trying to get a goal. No heads were dropping, and also you listen to it again. The fans in the last 5 minutes were still knowing that we're probably going to get nowhere near a goal. We're still urging the team on. That wouldn't have happened a couple of years ago, or a couple of months ago, if you like, the last 3 or 4 years. So that was good. Some of our play was exceptional. The first, even though we're playing against Liverpool, some of our touches, some of our movement was still brilliant. Yes, we lacked a little bit. A couple of defensive errors. I think we're slightly unlucky with, though they take their goals very well. Let's face it. But a second goal, when Saka made the decision to try and get it past him, it was a mistake. But 90 times out of 100, that ball would go off for a throw or it would go somewhere else. It went into the worst possible place. And also, the first goal, was it Cedric that got into a bit of a muddle? We didn't know where to.
Yeah, he tucked in, didn't he? When he should have.
Positionally, he got caught out positionally, didn't he? And obviously, against a team like Liverpool, you do that and you're in trouble, aren't you?
Exactly. So, taking everything out, I think we're now from being, we can't even see him in the distance. Now we're a fingertip away. I'm not saying we're going to get there, but we've got half a chance of getting closer again next year. And I think we will. So, I thought it was brilliant. I mean, obviously, I want to win, but I thought the performance was so good because I know it was a great save from Odegaard. It was an absolute blinding save the keeper made, but I don't think he knew much about it, to be honest. He did what he had to do with the keeper, and you need a bit of luck, and he deserved that bit of luck, the goalkeeper. But again, any other night, if we'd have been 5-0 up against Rochdale, that ball would have gone in, wouldn't it? It's one of those things. But it was such an important part of that game that had it didn't go in, you're thinking, what if? But one of those things. And the save, you see, if it had gone in, I think we could have got at least a draw out. I think 1-0 up could have changed the whole complexion. They're still a great team. Don't get me wrong, but I think with the crowd, the way they were getting behind the team when it was 0-0, gone 1-0 up, I think Liverpool might have gone hold in a minute. This ain't going to plan. So football's all about, especially the Premier, is all about small margins, isn't it? And they are a small margin.
I mean, it's funny though, isn't it? Because we had that big chance when it was 0-0, and then soon afterwards Liverpool score. They did the same against Nottingham Forest, didn't they, at the weekend in the cup? Forest had a big chance at 0-0 to go 1-0 up, and they missed it. And then Liverpool got up the other end and scored. And it was Jota again, funnily enough. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? That's that's what makes a great team as opposed to a good team. The great teams do that, don't they? They ride their luck a little bit and then they punish you when they have to. And Liverpool have done that for a long time now. And if we want to get to that level, we've got to learn, and we've got to have the players to be able to take advantage of those situations. And so far, when it comes to those big teams, we're still just a little bit short. And it is just a little bit, I agree, but it's still far enough, isn't it? Russ is in the chat there. He says, "Hi, chaps, hope you're well." Neil says there, for me, their first goal, up to the first goal, we're actually the better team, not by much, but better. Yeah, mad a few minutes cost us. Yeah, it did. And he said there, fine margins. Odegaard had a great chance. And Martinelli at the death almost scored on Henry. Yeah, he did. I mean, would that have a bit late in the game? Maybe that was. Russ says they're sick of losing to Liverpool, can't stand them. Yeah, it's not nice losing to anyone, but yeah, we do lose to Liverpool pretty much every time we play them these days. Neil says our time will come sooner than people think. Well, it could be. I mean, I don't know what people are thinking overall. I mean, we have closed the gap, and I thought that was clear to see on last Wednesday when we did give as good as we got for large parts of that game. But it is, isn't it, Dorsey? It's just those really small margins that make a massive difference when it comes to the real top quality teams, isn't it? And again, we have not quite able to get the result over the line. I mean, Man City, look how close we were in that game to getting something. And this one, again, we were close, but not quite close enough. And it's frustrating in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the three main incidents are obviously the Odegaard chance that we had. I watched it back. I watched the game, but I watched it back, and I'm not sure Alisson gets enough credit for what he did there, because I'm telling you now that any other goalkeeper in the league dives in, they slide in and they try and win the ball. He stayed up like a centre back, he jockeyed. So if he'd have done what any other goalkeeper would have done and slid in or dived in, or we probably would have got a goal. But I think what Alisson did there was phenomenal, and I think he deserved that little bit of luck. The deflection to knock it over. It was a really, really good piece of goalkeeping. But unfortunate for us, obviously. I mean, as Neil said, it was a silly 10 minutes where we made two mistakes, like Melvin touched on. Cedric got caught out of position for the second one, and in the first one, I think 9 times out of 10, Ramsdale saves that. I think looking back, I can't remember who it was that did a bit of analysis on it, but he was kind of mid-jump as Jota struck it, so he wasn't grounded enough to get down quick enough to kind of tip it around the post. But yeah, listen, I same as Melvin, I thought we were superb, and I think Arteta, he summed it up quite well after the game. He said, "Where was the game lost?" And he said, "In the boxes. You can't take, if you don't take your chances and you give away a couple of chances to a team like Liverpool, you're going to get beat." But I think obviously, there's a lot of positive things to come out of that game, because we weren't far off it. I really thought the midfield and more often than not the way we defended, I thought we were superb. But we've been crying out on this podcast and everywhere else to make sure that we get a real clinical striker in the summer, and that would have been what made the difference. If we'd have had a Salah or someone like that, we would have at least got a goal. I've got no doubts about that. So. Yeah, I wasn't overly surprised that we lost the game. It was obviously a pretty realistic result that was going to happen. But I think I wasn't disappointed at all with the way we lost it. Obviously, a couple of mistakes that we can iron out, but yeah, I thought we were really good for long periods of that game.
No, we were, and that's a positive thing. I mean, just to touch on a point that you made there about a clinical striker. I mean, it's actually strange because when you look at the way that we play in, the way we're set up, when you look at the way Liverpool play, we look at the way Man City play, they don't necessarily have a clinical striker. Salah isn't a striker, is he? He's a forward, a wide forward player. Man City's goals all come from Mahrez and Sterling mainly, and De Bruyne are in midfield. They don't have a clinical goal-scoring striker. Not now since Aguero's gone. And when you look at the top goal scorers in the Premier League, how many of them are actually centre forward strikers? There's not that many really. Most of the top players now, the top goal scoring players in the Premier League, are players who play in more wider positions. And maybe that's where Arsenal's going to, I think people are saying we're desperately crying out for a striker. I'm not sure we're going to sign an actual goal-scoring striker, a 25, 30-goal striker in the summer, because I don't think that's what Arteta wants. He had one and he got rid of him because he didn't fit his style. And goal scorers, they're very selfish. They want to score goals. Ian Wright, all the best goal scorers, Gary Lineker, they're not going to run back and play left back for the team. They want to be in the box scoring goals. And that's the sort of striker that us as fans want to see, because we love those strikers. We love Ian Wright, and people like that. And I don't think that that sort of striker now is not right for the modern game. The top teams don't have a player like that. Generally, one or two do, but most of them don't. They play a different way now. And I think the way that we're playing, and with Arteta, I can't see him going for that type of striker. I think he's going to go for more. He's going to try and maybe get the midfield to score more goals, which he's doing, getting a wide player to score more goals, which he's doing. And maybe he wants a striker. Something Jurgen Klopp said actually in the week about talking about sort of strikers and Firmino. He says he wants a centre forward who's going to work, and that's what Arteta wants. Like Lacazette works really hard for the team, but doesn't score enough goals. Aubameyang didn't work for the team, but on his day he could score goals for fun. And I think that Arteta wants a Lacazette type striker who's going to work for the team, drop deep, fill that role, and then the wide players around him are going to make the runs into the box and get the goals. That's how I can see us transitioning. We're almost doing it already.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to get this 30-goal season striker that everybody seems to think we need. I'd love to see one personally because I love that style of football, but we're not playing like that. And I can't see Arteta changing because I just don't think that will work. Because a 30-goal striker is in the box constantly getting goals. And, you know, Lukaku's having the same trouble at Chelsea. He wants to play, he wants to be that striker, but he's not allowed to because he's forced to do other jobs and he's not scoring as many goals. And I think that's what's going to happen with us personally. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I mean, Melvin, you want to come in there?
Yeah, I'm saying that I think if that's what you believe, Richard, I'm not saying you're wrong, but if that you believe that, I think we've got the player to do it. Martinelli, is the perfect player. He's got so much energy, so much about him. So we could actually play him a bit deeper and then get ourselves another quality wide player, a true wide winger, if you like.
And that might be what we do in the summer.
That might be it. That just might be it. Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird one because I completely agree because that certainly looks like the way that we're going to go. But what doesn't fill me with confidence with that is the whole Vlahovic thing in the summer. I mean, he is a proper centre forward. He is an out and out centre forward.
He didn't want to come, did he?
Well, no, but we wanted him and we chased him for a long period of time in the hope that we would get him. So if that's, I mean, Arteta was clearly adamant that he wanted him, and if that's the case, then maybe we are trying to get a centre forward. But I mean, it could go either way. But I hope the game doesn't go to a place where a centre forward is dead. And you don't need a centre forward.
I hope not as well.
That's a horrible thought to not have.
It is a horrible thought.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a fan of him, but you look at if you're taking people like Harry Kane out of the game, you know, someone that is going to get 25 goals a season every season, that you can't have a team where that doesn't work. Surely not.
Having said that, though, I mean, Dorsey, having said that, even now this season, Harry Kane's playing a lot deeper, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's still scoring goals, not as many maybe as he has done previously, but he's dropping a lot deeper and involved more in the play, in the build-up play. Where centre forwards never used to do that, really, did they? They were always on the box and on the end of things, finish things off. And yeah, Harry Kane's still scoring goals, but even the way he's playing, he's had to adapt to this new modern style of football, maybe. And I think that's going to, unfortunately, I agree. I don't want it to be like that. I love a centre forward who scores 30 goals a season. We all do, but are we going to ever see that again regularly in the Premier League? Are we ever going to see that at Arsenal? I don't think we are with Arteta's manager because that's not his style, and it's not the top team style throughout Europe.
Yeah, I think teams are definitely asking for more from their centre forwards than what you would normally give, and that's probably why it didn't work out with Aubameyang because he was very good at what he did in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, but didn't really offer much else, and that's probably ultimately the reason why it didn't work between them two. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see what we go for in the summer and what we end up. But I mean, we all know that we need to score more goals, and whether that's a centre forward that's going to get you 15, 20 goals and maybe not your 30, but we still need an extra 15, 20 goals to really put us in that City Liverpool bracket, because at the moment we're not scoring enough goals consistently enough.
Look how you've changed over the last few years.
Yeah,
you know, you were talking about centre forwards, gentlemen, that do a lot of work, which they never done historically for centre forwards. They're there to get the head to the ball, right? So that's changed. The role of the centre forward is changing. I agree. But the role of the goalkeeper's changed as well. It's not good enough to stop shots. It's got to be a midfield player now or a sweeper. The whole. They're squeezing every little bit of juice out of these footballers now. The managers, the top coaches, they want it to be 3 players rolled into one.
No, they do. And it's just, I suppose it's just the evolution of football, maybe. I mean, Liam in the chat there says Jonathan David would play well in the Lacazette role. Yeah, he may be more suited to that than perhaps Vlahovic would have been had we got him. So it will be interesting to see in the summer what we go for. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if we don't buy this 30-goal striker that everybody seems to be crying out for, saying that's what we need. Yes, we could do with one, but I'm not sure if it would work with the system. So, but we'll see. And Neil says there, hope so. We've been wanting Martinelli to play central from the start, ESR on the left. But the thing is, though, he's got Martinelli now, and he's not playing him in that position. So why would he play him, suddenly throw him into that position next season if Lacazette's not there?
Because he's not going to drop Lacazette. Lacazette's doing the job for him. That's why.
Yeah, but you can't expect Martinelli next season because he's not played that role for us. He plays either on the left or he has played as an out-and-out centre forward earlier when he first joined. So surely now's the time to get him in there get him experience of. Even when we make substitutions, he takes Lacazette off. He brings Nketiah on. Why doesn't he just move Martinelli there? But he doesn't.
I don't understand.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
So,
yeah.
If that was his plan, and if that's what he was going to do next season, he'll be doing it now. He will be giving Martinelli minutes in that position, even if it was later on in the game when he takes Lacazette off, and he's not. So I don't think he's planning to do that at all with Martinelli. I think Martinelli is going to be on the left-hand side next season. That's where Martinelli's going to be, and I think that's, unfortunately, he's not going to get that role. We'll buy someone else to play that role. We're going to have to, because Lacazette more than likely is not going to be here, and then Nketiah isn't going to be here, and even if he was, he's clearly not good enough to do that role, is he? So it's a strange one for me at the minute. I'm a little bit concerned who we're gonna buy for that role, the Lacazette role, which Lacazette does pretty well to a certain degree, but he can't get himself into the position to score the goals. You know, Firmino's quite similar, but Firmino does still score 10, 12 goals, doesn't he, regularly every season.
You've got to sacrifice all the good work and all the goodwill and all that he does, Lacazette. You've got to sacrifice that for goals. I'm sorry.
But he's not allowed because he's rolling the team. The same with Aubameyang. I didn't want Aubameyang to score 30 goals a season because he wanted Aubameyang to do a job for the team, which Aubameyang wasn't either able to do or willing to do, whatever it was.
He's in the wrong position, Richard. He ain't going to score those goals on the wing, is he? He's not a winger. You need a special type of player to play wide, and he just didn't have the ball control.
Yeah, no, he didn't. And when he played centre forward, Arteta wanted him to play the Lacazette type of role as centre forward, which again didn't suit Aubameyang. That's not his type of
running on the balls. Yeah, Aubameyang was the through ball, run onto it and do the damage. That was his game.
And we stopped playing like that, didn't we? We stopped playing that way. We still don't, do we? Most of the time, we get the ball out wide, and that's how we play. You don't see many through balls for the centre forward to run onto. One, because Lacazette can't do it because he's not
on his heels. That's most of the time. Lacazette's on. When he gets into the box, his heels stick into the mud. He's on his heels the whole time.
Because he's just run 40 yards from playing in midfield 5 minutes before, and he's had to make that run, hasn't he? So by the time he gets there, he's knackered, isn't he? And he's thinking, "Oh my God, what can I do now?" So I don't know. It is something that concerns me a little bit. I'll be really interested to see which type of players we do buy, because Arteta's been here over 2 years. He's not bought a striker yet, and it kind of concerns me. Why hasn't he bought a striker when we've needed a striker? He's got rid of one or two. He's not bought any. He's stuck with Nketiah, saying, "Oh, Nketiah, I trust Nketiah." Well, we know Nketiah is not good enough. Clearly, he's not good enough, is he, at all, for Arsenal? He's not good enough at the very top level. I'm sure he could go somewhere else and have a good career, score goals, just not at the very, very top level in the Premier League, because I don't think he's quite got that quality. But Arteta kept him and still brings him on every game. I don't know. I can't get my head around it.
I think we had someone sent off. I can't remember what game it was, and he made a substitution, Arteta, and he brought on Eddie, right? So Craig, my son, said to me, "Oh, we're down to 9 now."
Was that not the Man City game? Possibly.
It might have been, because it felt like when you're bringing him on, you're not bringing on anything. You're just taking the player off, and you're not actually getting anything for that. And it's not a fair swap, is it? Whoever you're taking off, however injured they are.
No, I agree. Yeah, you're right.
We'll come to the game on Saturday in a minute, I suppose, but bloody hell.
I mean, Russ says there. Russ makes a point there. We need a striker who can win you big matches. I'm not necessarily sure we need a striker that can win us big matches. I think we need a player that can win us big matches, a Mo Salah type of player, or a Mahrez type of player. Players that score the goals in the big games, and not necessarily a striker as such, because that doesn't seem to be the way that we play. But we'll see. Neil says there, Balogun maybe in a couple of seasons. I don't know. I watched the Middlesbrough game against Chelsea. He was dreadful. I thought he was absolutely dreadful.
Millwall game. Richard, I went Middlesbrough the other 2 Saturdays ago. I went, and he played in that. He had a couple of touches, but he didn't look head and shoulders above anyone.
No, I didn't. I thought he was poor against Chelsea in the FA Cup. Actually, I wasn't. I was looking forward to watching him play, but he's gonna see how he does against Chelsea, and he was. I thought he was poor. Yes, he's not in a great. I mean, Mids aren't a bad team, but they're not a Premier League standard team, and maybe that doesn't help. But anyway, Neil says there, that's a shame, as I think Martinelli can do that job and work hard by moving deep. No, I think we all think he can do the job, everyone except Arteta, because he's not playing him there. So he clearly doesn't think he can do that job, or he thinks he's better off on that left-hand side. I don't know. we'll have to see what happens. And Neil says there, oh dear, I had high hopes for him. Yeah, we all had high. I mean, I'm not saying we're not writing him off. You know, some players don't work out with certain teams, or they don't look so good in certain teams. They play elsewhere when they do. So we'll have to see. Mark C says, if Laka is definitely out the door, we need 2 or 3 strikers. Well, do we need strikers? Are we going to play with strikers? I'm not sure if we are. Not in the traditional sense. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens in the summer, because it is going to be interesting. But again, on Saturday, we put a defeat behind us, actually. I was a little bit concerned. We did say, didn't we, last week, we're definitely not going to lose both games, because we said that last time, and we lost both games. We lost the first one. I'm thinking, that's putting a curse on it now, isn't it? We're going to lose to Villa. But luckily, in the end, thankfully, we came out on top. I'm not quite sure what it is about criticising teams celebrating winning games. Yeah, it was a little bit over the top maybe at the end, the way we celebrated, but who cares? We won the game. Every game's important for us to win, so let's enjoy it. And, you know, to be fair, I don't really blame Ashley Young for his comments. He was asked the question about the celebrations. It was kind of prompted for him to. He didn't just bring it up out of the blue. It was because now it's a theme, isn't it? Because Neves did it for Wolves. Suddenly everyone, let's pick on Arsenal for celebrating. So it was put to him anyway. That's beside the point. You know, we won, they didn't, and Ashley Young looked quite sick at the end of the game, which was a shame. Overall, this was, for me, actually, it was a game of 2 halves. I thought first half we were really good. We played some really, really good football. We should have scored 3 or 4 goals. We should have put that to bed. It was great to watch, actually. That was a really, really good performance from Arsenal. Second half, did we run out of legs? Or I'm not sure, but we weren't a good second half. We were hanging on a bit at the end. But, I mean, Melvin, that first half, again, a bit like Liverpool, we played really well in the first half, maybe not quite as well in the second half, but that was even more of a contrast, I thought, because that first half was one of our best 45 minutes of the season, I thought. I thought we were brilliant. Yeah,
we were. Just to get back to Ashley Young for a second, I mean, when he was given that question, I'm surprised he didn't dive.
Yeah.
I think he's like, for years he's been doing it and getting away with it for some reason. He must have some dodgy photographs of a few refs, I reckon. Anyway, getting back to the game, the first half, fantastic. The movement again was there, the positivity, everything was good apart from being clinical. I mean, again, we've had a few of our players make the wrong decision when it comes to shall I shoot or shall I pass. Sometimes they shoot when there's 4 people in front of them, all right, blocking. You know it's going to be blocked. We even get shots. Laka's tried a few from 30 yards, right? You're going, what are you doing? You know, the goalkeeper will probably see the ball. And then you get a situation where they, look at it. Look, Odegaard could have scored a couple. He was in open space in the box, crying for the ball. Once from Sakri should have got it. Once from Lacazette, didn't get it.
The Lacazette one was bad, wasn't it? Because he was free and he had to pass that, didn't he? I was screaming at him to pass it. And he tried to shot.
What are you doing? So, I mean, I was getting a bit upset. I said I was watching it with Palomar. I went, you know what? If we draw this game, because it could have been a draw, though they showed nothing, Billy. You know what these games are like. They were still in it at 1-0. I says, I don't care. If the ball goes through the goalkeeper's legs, I'm still going to blame Lacazette for us losing 2 points, because it was such an easy thing to do and such a logical thing to do. And you're thinking, why on earth did he not do it?
But you see, the thing is, though, Melvin, we were just talking about it just a minute ago. We need Lacazette to score more goals, and he probably, in the back of his mind, he knows he should score more goals. He was running in at goal and probably thought, you know what, I'm going to have a shot because I need to score a goal. And he made the wrong choice. We know he made the wrong choice. He should have passed it. It would have been 2-0. We could have relaxed and enjoyed the sunshine a little bit more than we did. But yeah, that was a bad mistake.
Even Ian Wright would have passed that. Paul.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about. He would have scored. That's what Ian Wright would have done.
Yeah. No, it was like as you say, it was a match of 2 halves. Why? I don't think really we took our foot off the gas that much. A little bit we did, but I think Aston Villa came out second half and thought, the Vitesse with everything, we're only 1-0 down. Yeah. We've got nothing to lose. We might as well actually cross the halfway line now. You know, and that's what it was. And again, we've got to take our chances, for God's sake. And we do drop back quite deep. But what I did like, and I've never been a great fan of this, is I love it when they bring on Holding with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
They put on Ings, was it? It was good in the air. They brought on Holding, and Holding is so much better in a 3. When you give him, what you set him, you get the old alarm clock in his brain. All you got to do, kick the ball away, head it away. That's all we're asking. Don't play football. Do it for 10, 15 minutes, Rob. You'll be all right. And then go out there like a robot, do it, and he does it brilliantly. When he tries to become, he's on the pitch for 90 minutes, and he wants to be a footballer, forget it. No, that's not his game. He's absolutely superb in winning the ball in the air, though he can't hit the ball, not where he wants to hit it, in the air and also on the deck, and getting stuck in and making those clearances, picking up the second ball sometimes for the box as well. I love it when he comes on there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I love it when he comes on with 5 minutes to go when we're winning away from home. It's brilliant. And like you said, he that's the sort of situation that he's brilliant at. And I agree with you. When he starts games and he tries to play football from the back, he sometimes makes himself look stupid. But when he's in there just to do that job, shore things up, get rid of the ball, get it out, and he's brilliant. And marking people and stuff like that, I think he's great. So yeah, that it was good to see him come on. I mean, my slight concern in that second half was why did Arteta bring Pepe on and when we were 1-0 up defending the lead? That's not Pepe's game. Pepe is the sort of player we saw against Wolves. When we're chasing the game, bring him on. He's brilliant. He can run at defenders. But when we're defending the lead, he's not the sort of player to bring on. I couldn't understand why he brought him on at that point. He did it against who was it? The other week he did the same, didn't he? Where we were winning the game and we ended up conceding the goals at Brentford maybe. And I'm thinking, Pepe's a great impact sub when we're losing or we're drawing and we want to try and win a game because he can bring us that extra little bit of quality in the final third sometimes. You know, he's unpredictable, he can score goals. But when we were 1-0 up, he wasn't. What we needed was to hold the ball up the other end of the pitch a bit better than we were. And Pepe can't do that because that's not his game. And in the end, it nearly cost us because he made several defensive mistakes that conceded chances, didn't he? It's like, and that would have been, for me, if we'd drawn that game or dropped points in that game, to me, it would have been that substitution that, while that worked against Wolves, it would have been a total opposite in that game. I was surprised when you brought him on. Were you? Or did you feel that was a good substitution at that point at 1-0 up?
I think we just needed a set of fresh legs. And looking at the bench, we didn't have a great deal there really to bring on. It's probably
that is an issue. That is a big problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's certainly not the substitution I made. And actually, I actually really enjoyed the game. I thought we were superb. And apart from that last free kick in the last minute that Pepe gave away, that was the only time in the whole 90 minutes that I felt anxious. I was really confident throughout the whole of that game that we were going to see that through. Not because Villa weren't dangerous, but I think we are starting to be able to manage games a bit better, and we are starting to see these games out. And I think apart from that free kick where I nearly put something through the window because he gave away that free kick, apart from that, I was fuming that he did that because it was just so stupid. I just wanted to mention about the whole celebration thing because it's ridiculous. Like I know we all know it's ridiculous, but if you put yourself in Arsenal's position where you haven't been in the Champions League for 5 years, you know, you've lost your first 3 games of the season. You've somehow managed to work your way right into the mix to get the fourth place and probably favourites to do that. You then come off the back of a defeat. You go away from home 3 days later against a really good side that are hard to beat, and you beat them. If you can't celebrate that, what's the point? You might as well pack up and go home. What's the point in football if you can't celebrate that? It's a huge result for us because we all spoke about it last week. Yes, the concern is there. If we lose to Liverpool, how many games is that going to then go into? Is that going to turn into 2, 3, 4 bad results?
Which it has done.
We bounced back straight away against a good side away from home. What's that? 5 away wins in a row.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. What more can you ask from the team than to continue to deliver that? I mean, the games don't get any easier. We got obviously Palace and Southampton away coming up, which are going to be 2 really tough games. And I also thought the comments from Gerrard that he aimed towards Saka as well about he'll learn. There's he's come out. I've got all the time in the world for Gerrard. I respect him immensely, but I thought it was a really obnoxious comment to come out with that because he is targeted and he is kicked off the park, and there's various snippets of his interviews in Scotland where he complains about his players not being protected and getting kicked off the park. So you can't have it one way and not the other. So I do think players like Saka do need a little bit more protection. But I mean, I enjoyed the game at the weekend. I really did, and I was over the moon with the result. But yeah, Pepe was I don't think we really had any options, and Saka's played a lot of football. He's played obviously the whole game against Liverpool.
El Neni to short in the midfield.
Yeah,
the Conga.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have brought him on. Put it that way. It's not the change that I would have made. But I'm just trying to come to a conclusion as to why he brought him on. But there isn't much. But it's just another example that Pepe is just not the answer, is he? It's not going to work for him. He clearly hasn't. He's obviously got the talent, and he can win games. He is, I'm not putting him in the same bracket as Mo Salah, but he is one of those players that can come up with a moment of magic and cut in and stick it in the top corner, and he gets a goal. You know, he's got that in him, but it's nowhere near consistent enough. And there's nothing else to his game. Nothing else to his game. He's got all the pace in the world, all the trickery in the world.
Yeah.
How many times has he run at players? How many times has he actually picked the ball up and run at a player and try?
Every time, he tries, and after time he either falls over, trips over his own feet, or ends up just overplaying it and running it out of play. I mean, he doesn't do that. He can't do it. I don't think it's in his. That's not how he plays. He's got one trick: is to cut it from that right hand side onto his left foot and curl a shot into the far corner. If he can't do that, he can't do anything else. He just can't do anything else, and it's so frustrating because you're right. He's got talent, but unfortunately, he's just got one trick.
He's got little tricks. He's got tricks. And then he gets into a great position. He's got to give the ball 5 yards to a guy with no defenders with him, and he can't even do that. I mean, this is it for me. I've drawn the line now. I've always wanted him to do well. Obviously, I've always given him the benefit of the doubt. But after that performance Saturday, it was like he was so weak. He couldn't. He lost every 60-40, 70-30 tackle. He kicked the ball in the air, if I remember rightly, when it was in our box. He just blew it. He did. You miskicked it, mate. Don't mind you miskicking it in the middle of the park, but don't miskick it in our box. We're trying to defend the lead, you know. And just very quickly, one thing, going back to the celebration situation, I think Wolves are playing Aston Villa this weekend. That'd be interesting. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder if it will finish 0-0 then, because they can't celebrate, so that'll have to be 0-0, won't it?
We continue to celebrate like that every time we pick up 3 points. Like, we carry on doing it because
let's pick that around the top of us. We're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Mark's got a good point here. He says 99% of pundits don't ever give us credit. And that's probably why, because the players know that. So when we do achieve something, even we haven't achieved anything as such yet, but when we're achieving results and going in the right direction, the players probably feel that as well. You know, that we aren't getting credit for what we're doing. So, let's celebrate. And you can't really blame them for that, actually. So I think that's a good point, actually. Russ has gone back to the earlier point about, do you like the new shirt release? Obviously, that's a comedy moment there from Russ because nobody likes it, clearly. And Neil said it's awful. Yeah, we've been over this already. It is pretty awful. Neil says, if anything, it's a sign of progress. If anything is a sign of progress, it's his performance coming on the back of a loss, step up and win away against a tough Villa side. Is strength. No, exactly. That's what we need to be doing. You can't. Everyone's going to lose games. It's how you react to losing a game. In the past, we haven't reacted too well. We've gone on a poor run. This time we've bounced back. Yes, it's still only one game. We need to string a run together again afterwards, but we'll see what happens. Neil says loves Holding. Yeah, we all kind of love what he's doing. And Neil says, it reminds me always of our old school back four. Yeah, it is a little bit, isn't it? I mean, we're complaining about, football changing and we've got players doing different jobs now. But Rob Holding comes on. It's like we're back in the 1980s again or 1990s again. A proper old school defender who just wants to defend and doesn't want to do anything else with the ball. That's brilliant to see. So I quite like that.
Jumpers for goalposts.
Exactly, yeah. We need a bit more of that, don't we? And Rob Holding's a bit of a throwback, isn't he? So that's nice. Mark says, at least our back four and goalkeeper didn't crumble. No, it was sort of a back five at the end, wasn't it? And they didn't crumble. That was good. Statman Studs Football Channel, definitely check them out. I was on there a couple of weeks ago for a Liverpool preview. That's a good channel there. He says, evening mate, great win for Arsenal against Villa. Tough game. You came through flying colours. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't mention the Liverpool result, actually, which was quite good.
Just a quick comment, Rich. You mentioned just a minute ago about stringing a run of results together. Have we not done that by the Liverpool game?
No, what I mean is, these runs, it's like now we've had a defeat. It's important that we now go on another run after that defeat, rather than we lost to Liverpool before, and then we lost 3 of the next 4 games, didn't we? And we lost to Man City, we then didn't score for the next 4 games. It's important that you get a defeat and you bounce back and you start another good run straight away. And that's what successful teams do, and that's what we need to do more of. We haven't done that enough. I mean, not just this season, but in recent years in general. That's why we've been where we are, because we lose a game and we lose another game quite quickly, and then suddenly 3 or 4 games down the line you haven't got a win and it's all fell apart. So that's something we need to look at. And Neil says there, you can't celebrate, it's blasphemy from Arsenal. All other clubs have to pass, laugh, dance, sing. All we have to do is keep the stiff up. But that's because we're Arsenal and we're traditional, aren't we? And that's probably why. Liam says there, Pepe needs to be sold in the summer. Well, yeah, he should have been sold last summer, if we're honest. But anyway, he's still here, so I would say so. And Neil says there, unfortunately, Pepe needs to go. He tries to take on that one extra player, which is always one too many. Well, exactly, yeah. He tries to take on one, doesn't he? Let alone more than one.
Sometimes the first player is one too many.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Russ says, I'm loving the fact that we are getting under the skin of other teams. Yeah, we are. We seem to be getting under the skin of a few people now, which is nice. Some pundits as well. I thought Gabby Agbonlahor was quite hilarious, actually, at the weekend. Another one who seems to not quite understand.
Richard?
Yeah, by Laura Woods.
Laura Woods, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Or him to pieces.
But that's, unfortunately, I don't tend to listen to TalkSport because it's like lowest common denominator radio, isn't it? But sometimes you see clips and you can think, that's actually quite good. But I tend to avoid it if I can. Russ says, Rich, I can see you with the newly designed bum bag. Well, yeah, I was looking at that today, and then I saw it was about 90 quid, and it kind of put me off a bit. But there you go. Maybe another time when they produce a cheaper one, I might think about it. But I've got a selection already. Dorothy's got a selection of tops, so I've got my selection of bum bags. So there we go. And just not that one is not going to be added to collection. I don't think we can leave the Aston Villa game without talking about this guy, because I thought he was brilliant. In fact, one of the best moments for me in the whole game, and again, it comes down to celebrating, but the way the players celebrated with Leno at the end, he made that save from that free kick. And the way they all said, you could see how popular he was and how delighted they were for him to have kept a clean sheet as well. And I thought his performance, actually, considering he's not played in the Premier League since August when we lost 5-0 against Man City. Yes, he's played some of the cup games, but his first Premier League game since then, his first start for all that time. And he came in and I thought he was brilliant. I really did. He didn't put a foot wrong, did he? Everything he did was brilliant. His handling was great. He made a save at the end when he had to. He wasn't overly stretched, let's be honest. They didn't have hundreds of shots at him. But everything he did well. And I love that. And he is, as I put on there, he's the ultimate professional, isn't he? I mean, Melvin, it was great to see him back and playing as well as he did, because it would have been easy for his head to have gone months ago when he wasn't playing. And he hasn't, has he? He's kept himself fit, he's kept himself ready, and he stepped in and done a great job.
Well, you've mentioned it. I mean, your head in the ultimate professional is perfect. That is what he is. He must give the right vibe around training as well, the way the players reacted to him. And all right, it wasn't under a lot of pressure, but what he had to do, he can only do his best, and he did that. It was great. Yeah. The only, if I have got criticism, it's his distribution of the ball. I thought his kicking was poor, but I'll take that.
It's always been, hasn't it? That's always been his weak part of his game, hasn't it? That's always what's let him down. That's probably why he's lost his place.
He's a very good goalkeeper, and the only reason he's not in the team, we've got an exceptional goalkeeper. And the thing is, he made that mistake at Ramsdale. He has to. We want a goalie like that to keep Ramsdale on his toes as well. We need that. We need a backup.
Yeah, we do. No, exactly, we do.
Yeah, he's probably going to go. It's a shame. I know we bought somebody else, but it's a shame. But as I say, he hasn't made a fuss. He's got on with it. Professional. Fantastic, yeah, very pleased for him.
Yeah, I was, and it was good as well to see at the end when Aaron Ramsdale came on the pitch and was celebrating with him as well and appreciating what he had done, and that's good to see, because there must be competition between the two. And I know Ramsdale's probably he's the number one choice, so he can be a little bit more relaxed about it. But it was good to see that moment. They obviously work together a lot in training, and you can see the kind of, you know, the relationship that they have, and I really enjoyed that. That for me, that was a highlight of that game. I know there was a few highlights, but for me, seeing that at the end with Leno was brilliant, because I mean, Dawes, it is good to have two great goalkeepers at the same time, but unfortunately it's difficult to keep two good goalkeepers, because inevitably they both want to play and deserve to play. And I think Leno does deserve to play, but when Ramsdale's fit, he's going to be on the bench again, isn't he? Unfortunately.
Yeah, it is a shame, because I do like him, and in every top club you've got two good goalkeepers, really, and it's I think to a certain degree you got to say that he probably deserves to play first team football somewhere else. So you can only really wish him well in that sense. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant. I thought the cross that he came for, that he took, he went straight over the top of Gabriel. Thought that was really brave. Didn't drop the ball. I know he could have really hurt himself doing that. So and obviously he kept the free kick out right at the end, which was another dangerous ball that flew straight into the mix. So yeah, I thought he did really well. I think Melvin was spot on. His distribution is, I mean, you'd like to think that he'd been working on that over the course of the year, because that's how Arteta wants his goalkeepers to play. Whether or not he's just not working on it, or it's just something that he's just not comfortable doing, possibly. But that still needs to improve. But I mean, as a shot stopper, there's not many better in the league, I don't think. I think he's absolutely superb. But we'll see. Yeah, the celebrations and everything at the end. With you, I really like the fact that, first of all, the fact that Ramsdale actually went to the game to support the lads. Not all players would do that. So I think, first of all, I think that shows you the moment that Ramsdale is in, and the character that he brings around the dressing room. You'd like, maybe if it was the other way round, would you expect Leno to do that? Probably not, if I'm honest. I don't think he would, but no, it's brilliant to see, and I think again it's testament to what Arteta is doing. You know, he's built a real camaraderie in that squad, whether you're playing week in, week out or not. You don't do that unless the manager is kind of building something, because like you say, he's not played in the Premier League since August. So the fact that he can still come out, play a game of football with a smile on his face, enjoy the moment with his teammates, I think that says a lot about what we're building there. And it's a shame that the likelihood is that he'll move on at the summer, but he'll do so with my best wishes, and I wish him nothing but the best. I think he's been a brilliant player for us in a really tough period for the club as well. So
I mean, it has been. I mean, I think that, you know, a bit like what we spoke about earlier about the role of the centre forwards changed, the role of the goalkeepers changed as well. We did mention that as well, and you can see that probably that's where Leno has dropped down the pecking order, on the simple fact that he's not quite as good with the ball at his feet as Ramsdale is, and that was why Arteta bought Ramsdale, because Ramsdale could play that role he needed his goalkeeper to play better than what Leno could do. And it is another aspect of modern football, maybe hampering certain players, and it's going to cost us certain players and cost them the opportunity to play at some of the bigger clubs, maybe, because that's the reason, unfortunately. And Neil says, it looks like we'll lose him, which is Melvin says it's such a shame. Yeah, it is a shame. And as Neil says, Leno's never moaned, comes on after such a long exodus from the Prem, shadowed by Ramsdale and his flawless consummate player. So yeah, he is. He's brilliant. And, you know, I have got nothing but respect for him, for the way he's handled himself this season. He's lost his place. He hasn't spat his dummy out. He hasn't complained, moaned to the press. He's just got on with it. And when he's been needed, he's come in and he's done a job. And on Saturday, he was, for me, absolutely brilliant. It was great to see. I loved watching him play again. You know, he's going to look like he may get a couple more games, because Ramsdale could be out for a little while now, they were saying. So I know it's international break now, which is maybe helps Ramsdale get fit, but ultimately he may well play the next game or two as well when we come back afterwards. So it'd be nice to see if he can keep these performances going, because, you know, you need everyone in the squad, especially the lack of squad depth that we've got. Joe says our whole team is playing very well. Arteta needs a lot of credit. No, of course he does. And the whole team are playing. And it's right what Dorsey said, that spirit that we've got, the camaraderie in the team, comes from the manager. You know, the same way that George Graham installed that, didn't he, in his team back in the day. And Arteta's done the same. And it is credit to the man. We can't deny that. It's been brilliant what he's doing. And yes, we still one or two areas short in the team, but everything at the minute is looking a lot better than it was. Loki says there, the Arsenal by Stella McCartney collection. I could do better after a Crater Stella. In fact, I thought that's what it was. I thought it was somebody who was on Stella who designed it, actually. But anyway, I think we've maybe spoken about that more than enough for tonight. I'm sure someone will turn up wearing it at the game sooner or later. I guarantee when it comes out, there'll be people wearing it. Probably Dorsey, yeah. But you can guarantee there'll be people in the stadium wearing that top. The day it comes out, I think it comes out next week. You can guarantee there'll be people wearing it.
Dorsey, do you ever drive to football when you go?
Drive?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, if you do and you're wearing that top, the police will stop. You think you're on drugs, mate.
Well, I haven't even looked at it properly, to be honest. I haven't really seen all of it.
Oh my God.
I mean, the actual kind of tracksuit bottoms are even worse, actually. But anyway,
I haven't seen them. I'm just on the top bit.
I didn't like shell suits in the 90s, so I'm not going to like them now. But anyway, it's Stella McCartney, so what can you say? So yeah, I mean that's well, we will definitely see people wearing it, guarantee it. There'll be loads of people wearing them in the next couple of weeks, and that's why they brought it out, because they know it will sell. Right, because there's no game this weekend. Well, there's no Arsenal game. The women are playing, which I'm going to, but it is international break, and I thought just for something a little bit different on the archive section this week to maybe look at some great international moments that our players have enjoyed over the years. Obviously, we've had a lot of it. We have a lot of international players in the team. We always have done. So there's a lot of good memories that I'm sure we've got. So I thought we'd maybe do a little section on this. Obviously, that picture there was one of the most famous moments for an Arsenal player internationally. Of course, Emmanuel Petit scoring in the 1998 World Cup final. That was a great moment. Patrick Vieira actually set him up as well for that goal. Right. So that was one of the great iconic Arsenal moments at the international level. But there's been lots and lots of others, and I'm sure Melvin will have a lot more memories than the rest of us. So Melvin, go on, take the stage. What are your great memories of Arsenal players doing great stuff at international level?
Well, the greatest feeling I had was that cup final. That was the greatest ever. I felt so proud. We just won the double. Everything was looking so good. And for all the Spurs, whatever supporters to see, they knew how good we were. But there we were, the last goal being scored by two Arsenal players in the World Cup. Go and beat that, boys. That was the icing on the cake, wasn't it? That was fantastic. But, I mean, going back years, when I first started watching the Arsenal, we didn't have many internationals. It was obviously the four countries, Ireland, England, Scotland and Wales.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah,
and we weren't the greatest team in the world, and we didn't have a lot of internationals. But when we started getting better, when we won the double, every pre-season, at the end of the season rather, they used to have the home internationals, I think they used to call it.
I remember that. Yeah.
That was fantastic. Played at Wembley, 2 games we played at Wembley until we played away. And I remember just after we won the double, England played Scotland. It was always a hot day, always hot days. Those seem to be those days. And Frank McClintock played centre half for Scotland. He didn't get a lot of caps, I don't think, Frank, but he played. Because when you got an international cap years ago, if you were in the team, you stayed in it for years. You know what I mean? It was like not like today with about name an English.
Yeah, but they only played about 5-6 international games a season, though, didn't they? It wasn't like now when you have like. You know, you have 20 games a season. You didn't used to have that then, did you? You used to get 5 or 6 games a season. That was it.
But the manager used to pick his normal 11 for a long time. It was very few variations. Anyway, Frank McClintock, it was lovely to see him play. I felt proud. It was again Arsenal player for all that was watching the telly to see, and he was a quality player. But one player I saw, well, 2 players I watched. I don't even watch Arsenal, England at Wembley a lot. But I went to one game. And I was watching 2 players that I loved, but I didn't realise they were going to become Arsenal legends. And one of them, it was the England playing Holland. We had Dennis Bergkamp, who chipped Seaman when we drew 2-2. Yeah. And Overmars got brought down for the penalty, I think, by Keown, I think. He murdered him. I saw this geezer run. I'd heard about Overmars, seen a little bit of him, but I saw him in the flesh. He was silly. The speed was silly. That was a great game. Also, we signed one of my favourite footballers of all time, Alan Ball, and he took on Scotland at Hampden Park by himself, basically. He was only little Alan Ball, and a crowd were giving him stick. And the midfield there, I think he had Billy Bremley, he had some real tough tough footballers, and I think he scored the winner as well from close range, Alan Ball, and he played terrific. I thought, oh yeah, he's quality, top quality. Now some players I watched. He was playing for the Arsenal at the time. Nasri. He played at Wembley against England, and I absolutely ran the show. I thought, where's this player been? I like Nasri. I thought he was a very good footballer, but when he played against England, he seemed to take it all on himself. He commanded the whole midfield. He was making the play. He was changing it. I thought but he never made that a game. Never got to that level for Arsenal as he did that night for France. And also, we were signing this player. I think it was the European Championships I was watching. I knew we were going to sign him. It was like 99.9%. Rosicky. He scored a couple of worldies. Yeah. Oh my God! I thought, wow, is he really signing it for us? And he was a great player. I loved Rosicky. I mean, he had that bad injury, but I loved him. I thought he was a
great player. Yeah.
Oh, he had so much about him. I just thought he was absolutely fantastic. Also, who else have I got down there? You mentioned Petit and Vieira, in the World Cup. Also, around about 71, I'm going back again, we had an Englishman playing in goal for Scotland. That was Bob Wilson. Again, he never played much.
Yeah.
He never played much for Scotland because they had a decent goalkeeper for Scotland. But when we won the double, a few of our players are getting noticed a bit more, and he played a couple of games. That was nice to see him, not in an Arsenal top or Arsenal goalie's top. That was fantastic. I think that's really. Oh yeah, too. I like playing for England. He hardly played because he said something stupid. It was Ray Parlour. I think because he was underrated because he was playing around so many world class players, and he come through the ranks. It was like, oh, it's Parlour. But he was such a good player. We didn't realise how good he was till he stopped playing for us. And to see him put the white shirt, he didn't play much, obviously, but no. He was. I think he hit the bar. He could have scored two. One at the underside of the in one game. He could have got two or three. He got none because he was just very, very unlucky. But no, Parlour to me. I loved seeing him. Put that white shirt on.
Yeah, he should have played more for England, no doubt about it. He should have been a regular in the team. He was for a few years. He was one of the best English midfield players in the league, wasn't he? And he never really got picked that much. I know his attitude. Maybe they didn't like his attitude sometimes, did they? And but he wasn't the only one with a bad attitude, was he? I suppose, or not a bad attitude, but that kind of laid back, kind of wanted to have fun kind of attitude, rather than maybe that kind of professionalism, maybe international football that you maybe need a little bit more.
Going back about 10 or 15 years, Richard, Spain were unbelievable as a country, the way they played. Their midfield, their midfield was unbelievable, and you saw an Arsenal player playing in that midfield and making a goal in the final of the World Cup, the European Champion. Fabregas. Yeah. He was playing on equals. And I put those Barcelona players up there on the top shelf. And he was playing at the same level as them. Mind you, I didn't like time for him. But I thought that was fantastic to see. An Arsenal player playing with possibly one of the best ever midfielders you've seen.
Yeah.
No, Fabregas was a fantastic player. We've had a few in the chat, actually, a few good memories. Stans is saying good afternoon. It's evening here, but you're good afternoon. Stan, hope you're all right. Of course, Neil says there, 98 was a great year for Arsenal, the start of the Wenger years, plus fantastic for our French contingent winning the World Cup. Yeah, it was, and that was a great moment. Loki's got a good one as well. Bergkamp versus Argentina. That was fantastic. Goal, wasn't it? What a goal that was! That was
mine now.
O'Leary's winning penalty as well against Romania for Ireland, wasn't it? Was that the 1990 World Cup? Wasn't it? I think it was one of the knockout games. No, O'Leary scored the winning penalty for Ireland against Romania.
Goal, Richard. I was in France for that game. I went to the Croatia-West Germany game, which is an evening game, and the afternoon game was Argentina playing the Dutch, and we all went to this cafe in France and they had a television. We watched it, and when he scored that goal, that should have had that. I forgot about that. I went mad. I went absolutely mad because it was we just won the double. Bergkamp, one of the world-class players, playing for us and doing it in front of everybody. In fact, where have I got? I haven't got it. Have I got it with me? I probably told you the story. I'll bore you again. That evening, we watched West Germany play Croatia, and Croatia won 3-0 when they were the underdogs. And we had the geezer. What was the centre forward we called? from Croatia.
Suker.
He was playing. He had a great game, brilliant game.
Yeah.
And I was afterwards. The coach driver goes, "We've got a couple of hours, boys. Do you fancy going for a drink?" Who's going to say no? Went to this hotel, and one of my pals, who's not an Arsenal supporter, technically goes, "Arsene Wenger's just walked in." I went, "No, he has. He's just walked in." And he was. He walked in, and I went up to him and had my photograph taken with him, which I don't normally do. But
Arsene Wenger. You got to make an exception for Arsene Wenger.
Of course you have. I mean, he's just won us a double in his first full season. You know, I might have even bought him a coffee. You know, I felt that happy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, definitely. He definitely would have deserved at least a coffee, wouldn't he, for that? I mean, fantastic. I mean, Dorsey, I won't read out some of the comments just in case it's still all the ones that you were maybe going to say. But there has been so many, actually, that I'm sure we can find a load more that no one will remember as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking on my feet here because I haven't had a chance to do any research at all or try and remember anything. But yeah, I mean, obviously the obvious one is the Vieira and Petit goal in '98. I think an amazing. The first one that came to me was Ian Wright's goal against Italy in Turin in '97 when we won 2-0 out there. I think that always strikes out at me because along the same kind of lines as Ray Parlour, really. I mean, you could reel off a list of Arsenal players that didn't get as many caps as they should have done. You know, when you look at that back four, back five we had, I mean, that should have just been your England back four, back five.
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you need other than a defensive unit that was as good as they were, that played together week in, week out? It was a no-brainer, really, but didn't work out like that. But Ian Wright was another one. Didn't get enough caps for England, in my opinion. And that game against Italy, I remember that the goal and the celebration. You can see what it meant. So I think Scholes got the other one, didn't he? I think. Yeah, but that was a good memory. The Bergkamp goal against Argentina was. It really always reminded me of that goal he scored against Leicester when he scored that hat trick against Leicester. You know,
I thought that Argentina one was better than the Leicester. I thought better than was. Because that ball that came to him was travelling some distance, wasn't it? To bring that under control like that, I mean, what a goal that was. That was phenomenal. Yeah. David Seaman's penalty save against Scotland in Euro '96.
Oh yeah, good one. That's a good one.
You know,
fantastic.
That always jumps out at me. It was only just a few moments. So Phil Walcott's hat trick against Croatia. You know, when we really thought that was going to be something that you know he was going to be the next big thing. Still don't think he quite gets the respect he deserves for what he did in an Arsenal shirt.
Definitely not.
No, any player that scores over 100 goals for the Arsenal is done all right in my book. So, but yeah, there were just a few that jumped at me while I was sitting there. I didn't even know that we were doing this. To be honest, I've been so busy today that I only just jumped on straight away. So, but there were just a few bits that I remember. There's not too much that's happened recently, is there? Really, Jack Wilshere got a couple of goals, didn't he? He went for a period of time for Italy. I think he got 5 out of 6 man of the matches. Scored a couple of really good goals. I think 2 in 2 games or something. So and injuries unfortunately hampered him. But yeah, I think the '98, the France '98. I always remember the headline on the newspaper saying Arsenal win the World Cup, and I always remember that. Can't remember what paper it was, but probably the Sun knowing me. But phenomenal. And I was only 16 then, so I was kind of just really starting to kind of love the football, and obviously we'd done so well that year with Arsenal as well, and it was just what a performance from them boys. But there was just a few bits that kind of jumped out at me while I was sat here.
Yeah, I mean, all of them fantastic. I mean, that Theo Walker hat trick actually you mentioned, that's quite good because at that time, he was still a young player. I think was he not the youngest ever England player to score a hat trick as well? I think he still might.
Yeah, 16, actually. 17 or something was he?
Yeah, I mean that was. Yeah, that was a great moment, actually. Yeah, I've not forgotten about it, but it slipped my mind for the purposes of this, actually. That was a good one there, actually. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I mean, and you're right. There was a lot of Arsenal players like Wright that never played enough for England. And Mark in the chat's got another one there, Rocastle. Yeah. I mean, how he didn't play more for England when he was at the very peak of his career at Arsenal again. You know, Arsenal players always seem to get kind of overlooked for England quite a lot, don't they? Even when they're playing really well for their club. I mean, Ian Wright never went to the Euros in '92. He won the Golden Boot. He got more goals than Gary Lineker, and he was left out of the squad for the Euro '92 tournament.
It was England manager then. Who was the England manager?
Graham Taylor, wasn't it?
Oh, there's your answer.
But yeah, Graham Taylor, Ian Wright got them 4 goals, didn't he, against San Marino for England? And that was under Graham Taylor as well. That was one of the last games, wasn't it? Because we got knocked out of the World Cup. We needed to beat them 7-0. We beat them 7-1, but it didn't matter anyway because I think Holland won their game. They needed to win to go through. So, but yeah, our players did seem to get overlooked quite a lot for England. I mean,
how many caps did Paul Merson get for England?
Not as many as he should have done.
No, what about Nigel Winterburn, Richard? He could have got a few.
Yeah, Stan's just put Nigel Winterburn in. Oh. I mean, to be fair, as much as we love Nigel Winterburn, Stuart Pearce was the left back, and I guess it would have been difficult to have left Stuart Pearce out. Although Nigel Winterburn was up there with him, we probably felt he was maybe better. But you could maybe, Nigel Winterburn should have got more caps for England, but ultimately he did have a very, very good left back in front of him. Loki, they're actually a good one. Paul Davies should have walked into England. Yeah, he should have done. Paul Davies was a fantastic footballer. He never got any caps for England, Paul Davies. That's an absolute scandal, that, isn't it? He never got 1 cap for England. It was ridiculous. Such a good player. I mean, one of the first ones that I remember was that the 1982 World Cup, which is the first World Cup I really can remember properly. I remember bits of the 78 World Cup, but the 82 World Cup, Graham Ricks got in the squad, which was a little bit of a shock because not everybody was expecting him to. And he actually played much every game in the World Cup. And I remember watching him playing for England. That was the first time I could really remember an Arsenal player that I'd seen play for Arsenal playing in the World Cup for England. And that was a great moment just seeing him play. I mean, he didn't have an outstanding tournament. He did all right, and he got picked every game. And that was quite nice just to see an Arsenal player getting picked in a World Cup. And then we come all the way forward to obviously last summer, and the impact that Bukayo Saka had in that tournament in the Euros. I mean, talk about man of the matches. Didn't he get 2 man of the matches in that tournament for England, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka. And, when he was picked in the squad, I didn't expect him to even play much, even get on the pitch much. So the fact that he worked his way into the team, played a lot of games in that tournament, came on in the final and played in the semi-final, set up the equaliser, didn't he? Was it the winner in the semi? No, the equaliser, wasn't it? He set up the equaliser in the semi-final for Sterling, and he had such an impact in that tournament. And a player that's come through our academy, I always like to see them do well for England. It doesn't happen very often because a lot of the Arsenal players, as we said, never really got the opportunity. But Saka now he's become one of the most important players for England, hasn't he now? The way he's playing as well and the way he's played for England. And that was really good to see him make that impact on a tournament like that as well. And playing the final as well. Yeah, we know what happened at the end. But for him to have done that, what he did in that tournament was amazing. And that's a great Arsenal sort of international memory. I mean, unfortunately, I suppose, in many ways for Arsenal, we've had so many players that have played for all different countries. A lot of the best memories are not necessarily England related, are they? They're from, we said with France and Holland and all these other countries that we've had some great players from. But it's still the England ones always maybe mean more to us, I guess, don't they? Because, that's our country, I suppose. I mean, Loki says Kanu for Nigeria. Yeah, even he was a fantastic player, Kanu, wasn't he? I don't remember him having a massive impact.
I don't remember seeing him play for Nigeria.
No, I can remember seeing him play. I don't remember him having a big impact in a big tournament, though, for Nigeria, did he? I mean, he won a lot of caps for him, scored a lot of goals, but I don't remember him having a great tournament for Nigeria, not when he played for Arsenal, certainly anyway, which was a shame. Neil said, O'Leary, that penalty, we mentioned that before. He was still with us. Yeah, he was still with us another couple of years after that, O'Leary. He wasn't playing as regular. But yeah, that penalty was a great moment. His celebration was good as well. Not that he'd be allowed to celebrate it now. And Loki says there, when we beat Italy, we called the Italian embassy to wind them up. We certainly don't beat Italy very often, do we? Who else have we got here? Yeah, Mark C says there, Wilshere at 2 screamers v Serbia. He did, yeah, that was the game. Russ says Kevin Campbell, he was another one that did he not play for England at all?
I don't think he did. I don't recall him playing for England. He should have done.
I don't recall him. Yeah.
Such a consistent player at such a high level he was. Never played for England. Any club he played for? Everton, Forest?
Yeah, West Brom, yeah, everybody, yeah, he's a great career. Neil says that's what makes Saka remarkable, not really had a break, and he's still not playing. Well, no, he hasn't. I mean, he obviously played all through the summer. He played all last season. He's played all this season. I mean, he's going to need a rest. He's not going to get a rest really, is he? Because there's another World Cup coming up. Later on this year, isn't it? As we know. So, but yeah, I mean, I personally love to see Arsenal players that have come from our academy play for England and do well for England. It's a special moment, isn't it? And I say that first one from Graham Ricks all the way up to Bukayo Saka and the ones in between that maybe haven't played enough, as we said. I mean, Ian Wright it's a scandal. He never got more caps for England. Absolutely, when he was one of the best goal scorers in the Premier League all those years, and he hardly got picked, did he? And even Tony Adams, I know Tony Adams won quite a few caps for England in the end. He should have been captain for England for 10 years. He should have won 150 caps, really, because he was, and he used to get left out of squads, didn't he? Quite a lot. I know he had a few issues off the pitch, which you know about, but when he was fit to play, he played a lot of games for Arsenal. He should have played for England a lot more, Tony Adams. He should have been captain ahead of, was Lineker not captain at one point when he was playing? Shearer was captain when Tony Adams was playing. How can you make them captain above Tony Adams? Just madness. Just absolutely. If Tony Adams played for Man United, he'd have been England captain all the way through. The whole lot of that. He would have been captain for 10, 15 years. Because he played for Arsenal, he wasn't made captain very often. And it is a bit of a scandal, really. But anyway, Loki says they're going back to Melvin's days. In 1934, we had 9 players for Italy at Highbury. Yeah, we did, actually. Of course, in 1934, as Melvin will know, we used to win the league every season, didn't we, at that point? We were just winning it every year, wasn't it? They were great days, weren't they, Melvin?
They were good days, yeah. I'm not in the same seat as I was those years ago. I had a worse season, but still good to watch.
Yeah,
Alex James. You heard about Alex James? They reckon he used to wear baggy shorts.
Yeah.
The theory was that helped him to stop defenders know which way he was going. I couldn't tell which way his legs were moving.
There you go. See, that's before the days of all these sports science that they have now to kind of get an advantage. You don't need all that stuff, do you? Just use your common sense and think of your own ways to get an advantage, and that's what he did. He was apparently he was a great player, obviously.
Oh yeah, I've read all about him. I've bought books on him.
Yeah. I mean, there's still an argument to say he's one of Arsenal's greatest ever player. Some people would still say. I know there's been a lot of competition, certainly in the last 40 years or so, but. Yeah, there's one last
one I forgot, and it's probably not something I should mention, but I think it justifies a mention. Was obviously the golden generation of England players that we had from my generation, if you like, that should have done a lot better than they did. But I thought Ashley Cole in that period of time, as an England player, was just unbelievable. And I remember a couple of performances where he played against Cristiano Ronaldo, who was really flourishing at Man United, and he was just. I still to this day, I've not seen a player keep Ronaldo quiet the way Ashley Cole did.
He was world class, Ashley Cole.
He was phenomenal. And you know what? It's so frustrating because I'm a left back myself. That's where I played football, and I used to buy the same boots. I used to do my socks the way he used to do. I used to try and do everything I could to be as much like him as I could, and then he did what he did, and it was all came unraveling very quickly. He was certainly one of my favourite players. Such a shame the way it ended, but what a player! What a player he was.
No, he was. You're right, and there was a period, wasn't there, when he was at Arsenal playing for England, when he was the best left back in the world. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I mean, that game. I think that game you mentioned, it was that at a World Cup, wasn't it? When he literally just dominated Ronaldo, didn't he? And he was absolutely brilliant that day for England. Actually, that's a really good point because obviously at that time he was an Arsenal player. We loved him, but it didn't last long, did it? Unfortunately. But no, you're right. He had a great career for England, didn't he? He won over 100 caps, I think, didn't he, Ashley Cole? Because I seem to remember his 100th cap that he got. I know he was at Chelsea by that point, and he never scored a goal for England in 100 odd appearances, which is mad, isn't it? Really, when he'd always pop up with a goal or two for Arsenal, wouldn't he? Even for Chelsea, he got goals, didn't he? He'd always seem to score one or two, but all them caps for England never got one goal, which is quite mad, really. And Mark says,
did he score against us? Or am I just...
No, I don't think he did. I'm not sure, actually. Can't remember him scoring against us. I hope he did.
I don't know why that first flashed to my head that he scored against us, but maybe he didn't.
I bet he would have celebrated if he did, like.
Yeah.
he would have done Adebayor, wouldn't he, if he scored against us, I reckon, run off left of the pitch. Mark C says, you have to look at the flip side. Having more of our blokes picked for England caps might have not... Well, no, you're right. I guess the less games they played internationally, the fresher they were for us, maybe. So maybe we got an advantage out of it. And maybe, now we did get 4 players picked for this England squad, although Ramsdale's obviously had to pull out because he's injured. But you can see the future at the minute. We could start to get more and more Arsenal players back in the England team again. And more games that they play, the more chance they have of getting injured and burning out a bit quicker through the season. So, it's got its downside as well. But ultimately, one of the reasons why I've lost a lot of interest in watching international football, certainly England, was because there was just no Arsenal players there. And you're watching players in the England team that you just don't like watching week in, week out, and you've got to get behind them playing for England. I found that quite difficult. Whereas now we've got some Arsenal players to get really excited about, and that was one of the good things about the Euros. For me, was what Saka did. It's brilliant. And now we've got Smith Rowe coming through. I'm sure he's going to play a lot more for England in the next, well, hopefully this World Cup. He should, hopefully he can have the same impact Saka had like last summer. This World Cup coming up, maybe. We'll see what happens there, but yeah, it's good. I do enjoy that, and it does make a big difference to how you feel about England when you've got your own players or some of your own players playing. And I used to laugh sometimes at the Tottenham fans, when they had, Harry Kane and one or two others, and they'd say, "Oh, you got no players in England squad." And I'm like, it doesn't matter, but ultimately it does matter, and it matters when you've got them in there and you're watching them play for England. You know how that makes you feel. So it is important, and it's good that we've got some now. And yeah, there has been some great ones over the years, hasn't there? I think if we have to pick one now, it would have to be, wouldn't it, that Emmanuel Petit goal in the final of the World Cup. Yeah, I think that's got to be the number one international moment for Arsenal ever in history, I would say. Just brilliant. That was, and say it was Patrick Vieira that gave him the ball to score with. So, great moment that was for those two, and for it is an Arsenal moment that as well. Whatever everyone says, the papers were saying Arsenal won the World Cup, and obviously West Ham pretended they won the World Cup in '66, didn't they? With Leif Hurst and Martin Peters and whatever. So it was nice that we got one, not quite for England yet, but who knows? Maybe this winter in this World Cup, Saka and Smith Rowe and Ben White and Darren Ramsdale, maybe Arsenal might win the World Cup again. For England, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
And also, if Haaland decides to become English, that would be another Arsenal player, wouldn't it? He's obviously going to play
quite possibly. Maybe next season, yeah. But obviously the World Cup will be in next season, won't it? So he might well be an Arsenal player by then. He'll have another one. We could have half the England team, couldn't we? That'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. But we'll see. Mark C says Peter Simpson was a perfect foil at centre back with Fred between top. Never got a look in for England.
Well, Bobby Moore was about. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Norman Hunter. Yeah. But Peter Simpson was quality. I remember watching him play week in. He was fantastic. Stan name was for some reason, and it named him Stan. But what a player! He didn't get booked either. I don't think very much. His tackles were so good. He just got the ball every day. Long legs of his. He's got the ball every time.
It was left-footed, wasn't he? As well, left-footed centre back.
Very much.
Which they sort of stand out quite a lot, don't they? Left-footed players. I mean, I'm like Dorsey. I play left back actually as well. So I've always liked left-footed players because I'm left-footed, and you just notice them more.
They are different. Seriously, left-footed players are different.
Yeah.
Them. They're different.
No, they are, and I know maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I do think they're more elegant on the ball, a left-footed player, than a right-footed player, and it does stand out more because I mean every time I play near enough, especially when I play for either side, you always get the comments from everyone. Oh, he's only got 1 foot. I'm like, well, so have you. You know what I mean? You've only got 1 foot. It's just the opposite foot to me. You don't use your left foot, like I don't use my right. It's no different. It's just the opposite one, but it stands out more. It always stands out. People notice it more that you're 1-footed if you're left-footed, and if you're 1-footed and you're right-footed. It doesn't. No one mentions it. It doesn't stand out. Maybe because more people are right-footed. I don't know. But I always find it quite strange when I get them comments. I kind of laugh really. I think, well, I've never seen you use your left foot yet, and you're saying I've only got 1 foot. You know what I mean? We're the same. It's just the opposite foot. But anyway, I do like left-footed players definitely. So, but yeah, so that was some great international memories there, and hopefully there's going to be some more to come. I say this winter, maybe in the World Cup, perhaps. Let's hope so. Not just for England, but elsewhere as well. We're going to have a lot of players at the World Cup, aren't we, for various countries probably. So it'll be good to see some more impact made by our players at international level as well, which is good. And unfortunately, because there is an international break, there is no game for Arsenal this week. So we'll maybe need to have a week off of the Tuesday clinic, unfortunately, for next week, and we'll have to. Well, mind you, is there a game? There's a game the following weekend, isn't there?
Monday. We're playing Monday, the next game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's the Crystal Palace, isn't it? On the Monday. Yeah, that's right. That's the next game, isn't it? On the Monday night.
I missed that game. That's the week of my show. We've got rehearsals every night.
Oh, is it? Yeah, that's going to be quite an interesting game. But now they're in the FA Cup semi-final, maybe their mind might be slightly distracted. Hopefully,
I think so.
And it could be an interesting game, though, couldn't it? Obviously, Patrick Vieira's doing really well, isn't he? So, hopefully, they win the FA Cup now. I'm definitely going to be cheering for them for the rest of the competition, anyway, especially against Chelsea. So, it'd be nice for him to to win the FA Cup as a manager, because he did win it as a player a few times. Of course, his last ever kick for Arsenal was winning the FA Cup, wasn't it? So it'd be nice for him to.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say, I read, or was it on the commentary, that he hasn't lost an FA Cup game, but 18 FA Cup ties or something, because obviously he won it the last 2 years he played for Arsenal. Then he won it with Man City when he played for them, and now obviously he's manager at Crystal Palace, and he hasn't lost in the FA Cup. I don't think he's lost in the FA Cup since about 2001 or something, or 2002.
Wow.
That's insane. It's been ages. So someone has said that, and I thought actually that makes sense, that because when you think about it, he did win the FA Cup a lot with Arsenal, and then he came back and played for Man City and won it in his one season he played there, and now he could win it again. So. Wow. Stan says, what are you rehearsing for, Melvin? Yeah, that's go on, Melvin. Tell everyone what you're rehearsing.
I haven't really mentioned it. I don't like to mention it, Stan. You know what I mean? But what's it? You got it there?
Come this way. That's it. Oh, what's that called?
What's it called? Death by fatal murder. The worst type of murder you can get. Fatal murder.
Fatal murder is quite serious. A fatal murder, isn't it?
Yeah. Book now to avoid disappointment, Stan. I can get you a flight if you're interested, mate.
Where is it being shown, Melvin? This is what we need to know.
You know the West End? Nowhere near there. It's in Woodford, in Essex. Woodford. You heard of Woodford?
That's a better place. That's a better place, Woodford, than the West End anyway.
We chose that purposely. We thought otherwise, there's too much rubbish on at the West End. If there's something quality on, so I went to Woodford. They said you've got to put this on here. So I'm playing Sergeant Tompkins. I'm playing. I've got to be 6 foot tall and 20 years old. I think I'll carry it off quite well.
It's typecasting.
Luckily, it's a comedy. That's what I say.
It's typecasting. That's what it is.
Yeah, every time I play that, I always play a 20-year-old copper. Always 6 foot copper. Always. Every time. Can't get away from it.
Nice. It's a new career. It's a new career for Melvin in the theatre, which is going to be good. When's it on? Is it on that whole week? Is it the start of April?
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is the rehearsal. It's on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of April. And the 9th of April, it's a matinee. So the Brighton game that you're going to, Dorsey, right? I told you I can't go to that game, didn't I? Because you'll meet my son, Craig, anyway.
Cool.
So I'll have to not know the score. Well, that one as well. I can't get home because I stay at the place until we do the second one in the evening. So I won't there till about 11 o'clock at night. So, my God, Brighton at home. Oh my God. I was just saying the other day, I never thought I'd say it in all my career watching the Arsenal. That it's such an important game, Crystal Palace away. I've never said that before. And it is, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it is. It is an important. Well, every game is important at the minute, I guess. But it is a big game, and it is unusual, isn't it? Because that's never been one of the big games of the season. Usually, has it? I suppose the London derby in many ways. I've always liked it because my dad's family were from that area, so it was almost like a local derby for me, really, because it was where my dad was from, and his family still lived there and stuff. So I could get good parking for the game because I knew where to park, because of family and stuff like that. So, but a little bit of a derby for me. Crystal Palace against Arsenal, actually. Neil says, good luck, Melvin, with your show, indeed. And I'm Stan, I would ask who you're playing, but you've told us now, so that's great. And Stan says, I hope it goes well about break a leg. Well, obviously break a leg is what you say on the stage. But that'd be good. Though. If anybody's in Woodford in April and wants to watch that, definitely go and get yourself a ticket and give Melvin a wave when he's performing as a policeman, which would be nice. He won't arrest you, probably, but he might. But it looks like it'll be a lot of fun anyway, which is good. So, very good. No, it sounds like it'll be great. So definitely, if you're in the area, definitely go and watch that show in April. It'll be good just before Easter as well.
Got me whistle.
He's got his whistle. Look at that. Brilliant. That is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it already. I can't even go, which is a shame. We've got Delboy going in the chat. There's hello, gentlemen, all in the chat. You're a bit late to the show, actually. You're a bit late to the party because we're about to finish. But it's never too late to celebrate a good show, is it? So,
one quick question for you boys. We've got 9 games. We've got 9 games left. How many we got to win to get top 4?
5.
I think 5 or 6 should be enough.
I mean, mathematically, I suppose we need 8, don't we? Then no one can catch us mathematically if we win 8. But I don't know. It's hard to tell it because out of those games, we've got to play Man United, we've got to play West Ham, we've got to play Tottenham, we've got to play Chelsea. And if we were to lose, all them games, I mean, I'm not saying that we will, but if we did lose all them games, then even if we won all the others, it might not be enough because of the points dropped there. I don't know. It's difficult to say.
So many games as well, Richard. Might have to lose all the other 4. Might get a point or 2 of the others, not 2 or 3 points.
It's impossible to say, isn't it? But yeah, you'd imagine if we win 5 out of those 9, that'll probably be enough because everyone's going to drop points. Let's be honest. No one's going to win all their games, are they? So, maybe 5 might do it. We'll have to see. I don't want to think too much. As has been said, I know it sounds boring, but take one game at a time, pick up as many points as we can, and hopefully when we get down to those last 2 or 3 games, we'll be in a great position to finish it off. But let's see what happens. It is going to be quite nervy. I mean, it's quite nervy already, isn't it? I know you said, Dorsey, you were quite comfortable with the Aston Villa game. I actually, for the last 10 minutes, I was quite nervous because, Aston Villa could have scored. Let's be honest, they didn't have a lot of chances, but they put balls into the box, and it was like quite nervy for a while. And every game could be like that if we don't get the second goal and kill it off. Well, if we just 1-0 and stuff like that, it's going to be quite nervy. I think we're going to have a lot of that now between now and the end of the season. But let's hope that we can get those 5 victories or whatever that we're going to need, which hopefully will be enough. Stan says there, Melvin of Doc Green. Yeah, that's a good one actually. Yeah, Melvin of Doc Green. That might be the future. That's what we'll have to put his name on the screen next time. Instead of like Melvin anyways after Mark.
We used to come back from Highbury and Dixon of Doc Green was on the telly. It was Doctor Who was on and Dixon of Doc Green was on all those years ago when we got home. That was what it was.
Maybe you'll have to be Melvin of Woodford Green maybe instead.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
So Russ says there, Melvin of the Bailey. Melvin of the Bailey, yeah. I don't think he's a judge yet, though, Russ. He hasn't got promoted to be a judge. He's just a policeman.
Just a sergeant. Just a sergeant in this one.
Yeah, he might become a judge one day, maybe. But we'll see. So yeah, that'd be good stuff. Though I'm sure that sounds really funny. Actually, is there any way that is it going to be filmed or anything, Melvin? There'll be like a DVD of it.
It's filmed.
It is. Yeah. They were going to do a DVD, are they? Because I think we'd have to get one of them.
Well, it might be on Sky. No, it won't. No, it's going to be filmed, and it will be filmed. And I'll get if I'm any good in it, which may not happen, I'll get you a copy. I'll get you.
We're gonna do a watch along, are we?
No, shall we? That'd be good, wouldn't it? A watch along of Melvin on his matinee performance. That'd be good. We'll have to do it. That's a great idea. That we need to get someone with a camera who can stream live at the time, and we can have it do a special show. That'll get the most views ever. That would. It really Russ says send us a DVD. Got to be better than any of Tottenham's. Well, it'll be more fun than any of Tottenham's. That's true. Signed copy, please, Melvin. There says no. Yeah, I think you need to do signed copies, Melvin. You have to. What you'll have to do is you'll have to set up. When people release a book and they do like a book signing, everyone turns up and you sign them. That's what you'll have to do with the DVDs. Maybe set up a little stall somewhere, and everyone can come up and get a signed DVD of Melvin in the Fatal Murder. What was it called? Something Fatal Murder or something, isn't it?
Death by Fatal Murder.
Death by Fatal Murder. There you go. In Woodford in April. So that's definitely the future. For if you've got nothing else to do, definitely go. Even if you haven't got other things to do, change your plans
seriously, it's very funny.
And go and watch that because it'll be good. And Melvin will sign a DVD for you afterwards. He'll sign anything. He'll sign a program afterwards for you as well. You can't get better than that, can you?
I'll sign. Actually, what I might do, if you're very lucky, I'll sign my helmet.
Wow, well, there you go. I mean, what more could you want, really?
I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that a few weeks ago.
No, probably not. No, you probably won't be able to say it now either. You'll probably get shut down. True. But anyway. but yeah, so anyway, that's going to be good anyway. So Melvin might be a bit busy for a few weeks, so we might not see as much of him as normal. But it's all for a good cause, so we'll let him off. If he has to miss the odd show to appear in his own show, then that's got to be worth it, hasn't it? So definitely, you all need to go and watch that if you can. He said that there, and it says Melvin signing helmets. Yes, Russ, we know Melvin's going to be signing helmets. Yes, he is. Okay, that's good. We'll have to definitely get a DVD of that, won't we? That'll be good. And put it on the show. So that's the Tuesday clip for this week. No game to look forward to, unfortunately, but we look back on those two decent performances from Arsenal and a few international memories as well, which was nice. So obviously thanks to Melvin for joining us again. I mean, soon we're going to have to book you in, because once you're famous and you're a celebrity, it's going to be hard to get you on the show, isn't it?
Well, my fees do go up. I've got someone working. I've got someone working for me now. I've got an agent, but I can't find him because he's a secret agent. But never mind. But no, if I'm not doing anything else, Richard, if I'm not doing anything else and I can be bothered, I'll come on here. You know that.
Well, you're going to be jet setting around the world, no doubt, after this. So we'll try and get you on the show.
There'll be a slight change because normally I beg to come on it, so that will change. You'll have to ask me to come on in the future.
We'll have to write you an email, an invitation, and stuff in advance, so that you can book it in for all your other plans and all your other engagements that you'll have. We'd have.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Really enjoyed it again, gentlemen. Thank you. Brilliant.
No, it's been good. And Dorsey as well, of course, a pleasure as always to everyone. You enjoyed the show?
Yeah, been really good. Yeah, apologies again for being a little bit late. But yeah, I mean, like we've said for the last few weeks, it's a lot more enjoyable talking about us when we're winning games, isn't it? So it's, let's make the most of it and just enjoy it and hope we can continue. But yeah, really enjoyed the show. So thanks for having me back on.
No, it's all joy. I was going to say, it's a shame Adam was missing this week, but I'm sure he'll be back very soon. Neil says, great show, lads. Nice to have this on the side while I'm working. Don't tell your boss though, because you might get sacked. He says it's one of the best shows around. So well done, lads. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I always appreciate your support. And I know one week we will get you on. Stan says, cheers, lads. No, thanks again, Stan, for watching. Loki as well, and to Russ as well. Thanks to you guys and everybody else in the chat. If you haven't given it a like, give it a like before you leave as well, because that's always helps the channel. And I know most of you guys have already subscribed, but if anyone's out there that hasn't done, please consider subscribing as well. We're not actually that far off 1,000, so it'd be quite nice to get there at some stage quite soon. Neil says, take care of yourself, mate. Yeah, take it easy, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the week. I am going to London tomorrow to see the Arsenal women play in the Champions League, and also the North London derby on Saturday as well. So a few days in London, assuming our hotel doesn't fall down, and like it might be at the minute. So if all goes well, I'll be in London tomorrow for the game. Otherwise, maybe won't be. But anyway, we shall see. But that's my plan. So I won't be doing watch-alongs of the women's games this week. I'll be doing some live stuff instead, which could be more exciting. So who knows? But anyway, stay tuned for all of that kind of stuff, and we'll be back very, very soon. And of course, from Melvin, from Dorsey, and from me and everyone in the chat, enjoy the rest of your week. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you very, very soon. And of course, as always, come on, you Gunners. Come on. Let's keep this going. Top 4. Let's celebrate.
Let's do it. Let's do it.